So recently, Fallout 76 has been under fire with a lot of hacking and cheating exploits, such as the spawn hack that I'm sure most of you heard about. If you didn't, well, some people were able to spawn in human NPCs into the game. I guess they really couldn't wait for Wastelanders. They even spawned in Preston Garvey, as well as even the massive Brotherhood ship Pridwin. As you can see here, they managed to spawn this behemoth of a ship into the game somehow. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, this was all happening on PC, and luckily this got resolved by Bethesda after it spread like wildfire over the internet. And unfortunately, this gave Bethesda some more bad reputation, if their reputation wasn't bad enough. Like, they have just been spiraling down, I feel like, this year. Like, after Fallout 76 released, it's just been chaotic for them. There's just been problems after problems after problems. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Bethesda. I grew up on their games. Like, I've spent a lot of time in their games, and I appreciate them for the entertainment and hope the best for them in the long run. But I'm not here to say Fallout 76 is the most perfect game ever, especially this year. I mean, I'm a huge fan of it though. I spent a lot of time in this game as well. It's just had a lot of problems over time too, and they have got a lot of bad reputation from Fallout 76 to top it off. Anyways, not only was the spawn hack a huge epidemic for Bethesda, hackers were able to get 5-star gear exploited into the game as well. Because as we know, it takes a lot of time to grind for the perfect god roll gear. Like, it can literally take hundreds if not thousands of hours to get the perfect rolls that we want. But players were just able to spawn in multiple starred gear with a lot of effects to top other people's items that they spent time grinding for. The hackers were just able to plop it right into the game and use it. And I believe some of that hacked gear is still out there as well. Like, Bethesda wasn't able to completely resolve this problem, sadly. I will mention though, I haven't technically seen any of the 5-star gear on console. It seems like these hacks are just a PC problem. But to top it off, here recently actually, hackers have now started to steal other players' hard-earned loot without trading with them whatsoever. And this is actually including players' atomic shop items as well. And keep in mind, this is only happening on the PC, so don't worry if you're a console player. There's literally visual proof of players going around stealing other players' items that they have on them. And it seems like, from what I've heard, that this is happening to hundreds of players. But recently, thankfully, Bethesda responded on this situation, saying this: an update on the current PC exploit. Hi everyone, we are investigating reports of a PC-only exploit that could be abused by cheaters, which may have resulted in a few players losing items that their characters had equipped. We have been actively working toward a solution for this and have a fix that we are currently evaluating for release today. While we have determined that only a small number of characters have been negatively affected, we are taking this very seriously, and resolving this is currently our top priority. We would like to apologize to those of you who were impacted by this exploit. We want to make this right, and we are currently looking into ways we may be able to compensate you. If you believe you have been affected, please let us know by submitting a ticket to our customer support team. As mentioned above, this issue only affects PC, and we are currently planning to bring the PC version of the game offline today to release a fix. We will let you know as soon as we are ready to begin maintenance. Thank you very much. And it seems like, as you can see according to their Twitter, they did undergo maintenance on the PC, so hopefully this has now been resolved and it's out of the game. For things this serious, Bethesda typically tries to take action as fast as possible. I don't know if some of y'all remember or even know about this, but back in the day when the Vault 94 raid first released, there were players that were getting their items that they had in their inventory completely wiped. And I'm not exactly sure if Bethesda was able to get back those items that they lost. It was a glitch that would happen when the raid first launched. Now, as far as I know, this didn't happen to hundreds of players. It did happen to a few though, I can confirm that. I was actually in contact with one of them that it did happen to. I will mention though that Bethesda did ask that person to message them to see if they could work out something for him. So I'm not exactly sure if they were able to get back his stuff or not. But thankfully they did resolve that issue that was happening in the Vault 94 raid. A lot of players were actually scared to play it, and for a good reason. No one doesn't want their hard-earned loot to just completely disappear. After all, it does take, once again, quite a bit of time to acquire good gear that we actually want and use. To just randomly lose that sucks. Anyways, back to the response over this current situation. It's good to know that, first off, they apologized to the players that this did happen to, and second off, they're already taking action to resolve this. Well, I should say they already took some action of resolving this. At least they got the hack out of the game. Now, the second part of resolving this is getting the items back to the players who lost their stuff due to these cheaters. For things this serious, Bethesda typically tries to take action as fast as possible. If you are one of the players affected by this that are currently watching this video, once again, as mentioned in their post, you can submit a ticket explaining that to the customer support team. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out about their response, according to them, it seemed that a small number of characters were affected, but I've been hearing otherwise. I don't know if that is technically just a rumor, but I've been hearing that hundreds were affected by this. As you can see, here's one of the top comments in this Reddit post. Hope that you're not only able to take care of the problems that affected over 500 plus people to their knowledge. Like, that's actually quite a bit of people, and Bethesda said there was only a small amount, which kind of confuses me. But anyways, furthermore into this comment, this person thinks that Bethesda should severely punish those that were involved in this hack, like literally include a hardware ban. And someone responded to this comment saying hardware bans aren't enough. This person said Bethesda should track them down and prosecute them. I don't know, what do you all think about this? Yeah, there's been some other weird hacks that happen. For instance, that spawn hack, but that didn't really affect other players. This is actually affecting other players and making it so pretty much all their grinding that they did was a complete waste of time, or however they got their certain items. Maybe they traded and used a bunch of caps to get a certain item or something. All of that is just completely gone now because someone decided to just troll some other players by stealing what they have. I don't even know how you have the heart to do that. Once again, if I was even able to do this kind of stuff, if I knew how, I couldn't. I just wouldn't have the heart to do that kind of stuff to other players just out of the blue for my personal enjoyment. It's kind of sick if you think about it. Then again, I mean, I don't know personally for sure what their plan was over doing this. They had to have known that this would be a topic around the Fallout 76 community. Like, I don't know, they had to have known a little bit that Bethesda would address the situation that was happening in the game because they knew players would complain about it. And players have a right to complain about something like this. This is actually something pretty serious. But all I'm saying is maybe, just maybe, some of the people that were doing this had a bigger plan out of doing this. Like, maybe they want Bethesda to tighten up on their security. Maybe they're trying to show that this kind of thing is possible. Because after all, there are hackers out there that are just able to exploit 5-star gear into the game. So it makes me wonder, why on earth are they getting that greedy and deciding to just steal other people's hard-earned loot? If they can just already spawn something in that's just as good as anything they'll ever find. Makes me kind of curious just trying to think in their perspective. I could be just overthinking this and they just wanted to troll players and wanted more loot, and this was an easy way to do both. It's good to know though that Bethesda did thankfully get on top of this swiftly, because the longer this exploit stayed into the game, the worse the backlash is going to be and the more players that they're going to have to deal with. After all, they did mention in their response that they are going to compensate with players that were affected by the cheaters. I'm not exactly sure what they're meaning by compensate. I don't know if they're going to be able to give them the exact loot that they lost, or maybe they'll just give them something even better since they experienced something this traumatizing. Like, the players that were affected by this, no doubt, they're going to remember that for a very, very long time. Like, just imagine if you were just casually playing the game and someone just simply came up to you while you're on a workbench or something, and all of a sudden something that you were maybe repairing just disappeared. Except it wouldn't just be whatever you're repairing. It'd literally be everything that you had in your inventory. That's pretty terrifying, because I'm kind of a hoarder myself. I keep a lot of stuff in my inventory. Thankfully, this isn't happening on console though. I mainly play on console. I do have a PC account though that's like 60 or 70, but I don't really play on that as often because I have players that I like to play with on the console. Which reminds me, the hackers did have to go up close to the players to steal whatever they had in their inventory. So hopefully some of these players that were affected by this remembers possibly the tag that some of these cheaters were using. That way Bethesda could actually take some action against these cheaters that were doing this. And on that note, I would love to know your all's thoughts about this. Like, what should Bethesda do to these cheaters that were doing this if they're able to locate them? Like, someone was saying that they should go as far as prosecuting them. Also, for the players that were affected by this, what do you think Bethesda should do to them? Like, how should they help them out, since they lost their whole inventory randomly from some cheaters in the game? But yeah, I guess that's not wrapping up this video, everyone. Hopefully you found this enjoyable. I just wanted to update you all on this situation because this is a pretty terrifying situation that is happening on PC. And I can totally understand if some of you were kind of hesitant to play on PC because of this. It's safe to say now that you are safe from these cheaters. It seems Bethesda has resolved this situation. If they haven't and something like this happens to you, well, like I mentioned before, you can submit a ticket to Bethesda and supposedly they'll have something in return for you over experiencing this. I don't typically like covering negative news, but I feel like this is something important to cover because this, once again, is pretty terrifying for players. I'm out of here though, everyone. Thanks for taking the time watching and listening. As always, if you found this enjoyable, consider taking a little bit of your time and leaving a like, but that's totally up to you if you want to do so or not. Till next time. Remember to try to stay safe out there in the wasteland. Peace.